walking through how to create this rainbow shadow, kind of a stack shadow style. I shared it on Instagram and a few of you asked if I could do a tutorial, and it's actually crazy easy. So we'll walk through the shadow and then we'll also add some shading to make it look even more 3D, but it's a really, really easy one. I think you'll be surprised by how easy it is once I show you exactly what it entails. So grab your iPad and let's get started. Okay, so I have a square canvas open in Procreate, and the first thing you want to do is tap your layers panel, and let's change our background color to pink. Tap your layers panel again, and on the first layer, we're going to go ahead and rename that Yay. I am using Sketchy Brush 2 from my texture kit. That's the one I used in the example on Instagram, so I'll use that one now. And I'm going to use white to do my lettering. So all I did, this piece took me literally no time at all. So I did a quick yay. So one thing about this brush, if I leave the pen on the page the whole time, you get no overlap here. If I do one stroke and then another, you get some overlap. Either look is fine, it just depends on your preference, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave mine down the whole time. So I'm just gonna quickly write out the word yay. And then add an exclamation point. And we can move that around. Maybe we wanna make it a little smaller, so we have room to add our shadow. And I actually want it to be a little brighter. So all I'm gonna do is duplicate it and then merge that down so I have a lot more brightness. So now we're gonna add our rainbow shadow, which is so easy to do. So first I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm gonna do a peach color as my first in my rainbow. I'm gonna tap select, oops, and then fill layer. Again, select, fill layer. So you can't see it right now, but if I tap or move it around, you will see it. So what I want to do is have it perfectly underneath the other one. And then all I'm gonna do is tap 20 taps this way to the right and then 20 taps down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And again on the bottom. Okay, so we have 1. The reason we're counting is because we want them all to be the exact same. So all we're gonna do is repeat that exact same process. So now I'm gonna use yellow, select, fill, select, fill, and you always want to make sure you're moving the bottom one. And then again, I'm going to do the taps 20 times right, 20 times down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so keep doing that until you finish your rainbow, and then we'll come back together and add the last few little touches that really make it pop. All right, so we have now all of our shadow done, but we really want to make it pop. So one more time, duplicate that layer and make it if you did a pink background like me, make it a dark pink. So we'll select, fill, and now for the shadow, we want it to be somewhere kind of over here. And I'm gonna see, I don't want linear burn. I'm just gonna do normal color and reduce my opacity because a subtle shadow actually tends to be more effective. So I'm gonna make it around 30%. You can see now we've got that nice little shadow right there. So now what we wanna do is add some shading that really helps all of this stand out. So the easiest way to do that is we want to merge our layers down. So if I were working on this as the real thing, what I would actually do right here, and you can see that I've done this before, I get out, swipe left, and duplicate. That way I could go back to the version where the layers are separate if I wanted to. So what I usually do now is go ahead and reduce those down so we can call that our shadow. And you know what, actually, we need to undo that. 2-finger tap to go back. I do not want that bottom shadow in it, just our main shadow. Okay. So let's call that our rainbow shadow. All right, so above that, add a new layer, and we're gonna do a little shading here. And tap that layer, apply a clipping mask that'll confine it to just our shadow. And for this one, I wanna use like a gradient brush. I know I have one in my creative lettering kit, so I'll grab one there, but you can use any gradient, or I think if you go to like airbrushing, any of those would work well as well. In fact, I'll just go ahead and use one of those. So again, I'm gonna keep my dark pink. I'm gonna see, that's quite a bit. So I might reduce the opacity from the get-go over here a little and my brush size. And now I just want shadow to, again, think about the sun coming in or wherever your sun is on your piece. Where are the shadows going to be? So then you can just kind of darken those areas a little. And if it's anywhere that's kind of hard to get to without getting places you don't want to get, all I do is I grab the wand tool up here and then I kind of circle just the area, and that will confine it. You can see how everything's selected except for what I really want to get to. So that's how you can do it for a spot that's tight. I'm going to undo that and just do it by hand. But when I'm working in sometimes more intricate ones, I use that a lot. You can go pretty subtle with your shadow and still have it make a really big effect. So I know there needs to be a little under here, and usually the bottoms of letters always have a little. And then you can come to the N as usual. I think linear burn looks really cool here. Can you see how that changed? So I did linear burn, and then I always reduce the opacity so it's more subtle. So I've got like the 39% right there. And then you can see we have two parts of the Y that are overlapping each other. So I also did some shading there. So add a layer above your main yay, and that will be some shading as well. And again, put your clipping mask on. And now this is when I would come in and use that wand tool, and I just want it to be on the bottom of either one of these, like super light and subtle. So I'm just gonna tap a little in on either side of that. And now it looks a little more like it's crossing over. So we'll do the same thing on this side. Use the wand tool, select our area, brush in just a little shadow. And again, if you decide it's too dark, you can always use the layer opacity to change that. But if you come in really subtle like this, you may not need to mess with it. That one came out a little darker than this one, so I might reselect and go back in. But again, you can always play with the linear burn and then reduce the opacity if you want to. Now, what I also did on mine, a lot of times when your shadow is close in color to your background, you can make it pop even more just by adding a little white behind everything or a lighter pink. So I'm just gonna grab my lighter pink and just very subtly go through. And can you see how that shadow majorly pops then? And again, that's way too bright. So I'm just gonna reduce the opacity to maybe, I got 26% there. Now it looks so subtle that you can't really see it, but if you toggle it on and off, you'll see that it does make a difference. And the final thing I did for this piece is add some super simple stamps, which I used my new creativity kit. I used this stamp and 2 of the circles. So with white, I just came in and I did, you know what, I actually think I used light pink, but for now I'll use white. So I'm gonna stamp a few things. I'm gonna reduce the size. And I want them to go the other way. So I'm going to use the wand tool and move them around just a little. Maybe adjust so they don't all look the same. You can make one smaller than the other. You can make it slightly bigger. Oops. What's going on here? All right. And I want that one to be a little bigger than the others. And then I'll come in, I'm gonna do a circle. Make it a little smaller, I think. There. there, there, and then also a dot. And I want that guy to be pretty small. There, there, and there. So it's just simple little touches that make it really just a little extra fun. And again, if you want to reduce the opacity, you can change it a little. And I think maybe you're surprised that you use the same exact version of the original Yay to do all the shadow, because usually when I'm teaching you shadows or anything that's 3D, we are over here using either motion blur or Gaussian blur. But with this one, we create a bit of an optical illusion using the exact same version of our lettering repetitively. So I can't wait to see how you use this in different things, and I hope you have a lot of fun.